Hi, Dylan. I'm going to show you today how I'm using the beat mapping to practice, to use it for my practices. So let me walk you through what we got here. So I already imported a track in Logic, and then this is how it's going to look like. I put a piano in there as virtual instrument, and then you want to use that. I forgot what it's called. So you want to show that control bar, I don't know what it's called, and the shortcut is G if you're looking for it. And I need to see the markers, the time signature, the tempo, and the beat mapping. All right. So the first thing you want to do is to beat map everything. So you select your, more or less what you're going to do. You're going to select your track, you go to your beat mapping, and you analyze the transients. Then the question is how do you do it? I do it manually, and I try to do it if I can get away with it and do it every 4 bars or every 8 bars and just lock the tempo there. That's great. When it's live and there's no click, when they don't play on a click, which is most of what's going on with old recording, then you end up doing it every bar. I wouldn't go further than that. Try to find the good happy medium there. 1 bar is fine. So I don't know if you can see, but the white bars are basically where you lock your tempo, your transients, and it gives you that tempo. So every bar I've got a new tempo basically. So the reason I do it manually is because when you play the track, you want your click to feel natural and to basically to feel a part of the music. If I use the automatic tools, a lot of time it works, but it feels very stiff or just doesn't lock really great. So I decided after a while I do it manually. I've got a friend who's a drummer. What he doesn't even do that. He just tap it, and then that become his click, and then he tempo maps his tap. That's basically how I do it. Not as good, so that's how I do it. So just so you get an idea, toggle off the tempo. So this is the loop. So if I put the click, and I pull back a little bit the volume of the track, for me it feels really nice. It feels like actually the click is like a percussionist and it's grooving, it's in the pocket. The reason I want to do that is because when you play with it, and then if you completely remove the track, that's how you want to relate to the click. You want to take control of the click that much that somebody plays the click, it feels like that. So you're learning how to recreate the feel in relationship to the click. So that's the feel you're after, not mastering the click. It's more than that. It's like owning the click. So that's the goal. The second thing that you're gonna be able to do, if you customize your control bar, you go under customize control bar, you can use the vary speed and make sure it's on, and then you can slow it down. And that's really helpful, one, for practice, two, to be able to hear every details that you need to hear too. All right. So if you play with it, then when you're comfortable, then you can go a little faster. Here we go. So you got the idea. Now, what I'm asking you to do is to work on vocals. So this is here when the vocal comes in. So first, it's really nice that you can loop small section anywhere, anytime. So this way you just do a little chunk. You got 10 minutes, you just do one bar and that's it, you know. So it really helps you to train as many details as you can and get control on the rhythm, on the little inflection and everything, and try to catch them. So on that case, check the word mountain. Can you hear the fall on the end of mountain? Te-ain. Let me do it really slow. Oh, sorry, the other way. Let me play it. All right. And then when you grab everything and you feel comfortable, then you end up being something like that. And that's basically what I'm asking you to do. And you go through the whole song. I mean, whatever section you work on. All right, now let me give you a couple of tips about what to do and how to do it. First, so we talked about you do your tempo lock every bar. If you can get away with every 2 bars, every 4 bars, you know, just check with the click. The second thing, you always want to go from left to right, because if you miss some, it's really a pain to readjust the tempo and go backwards. So you want to go forward always. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you're gonna have to deal with the cutoff, the beginning. So you want to make sure that you grab and you lock just the beginning, the downbeat, and it's really precise on the bar. And then you you do a pre-roll of 2 bars or 1 bar. And let me show you how that looks like. So here I prepared it. So this is the beginning of the track. All right, let me get rid of the click. So you see the track start at the beginning of the bar, fine. But the downbeat is right there, you know, on that big transient on the kick. So we need to line it. All right, so you zoom in. Oh, hold on, I need to pull it. It's easier. Okay, sorry. All right, you zoom in, get there, you truncate. And then you realign it to the beginning of, you pull it back to the beginning of the bar. Sorry. Oh, there it is. So I use the shortcut semicolon. I hope you grab that. And then when that is done, you can pull back the beginning. All right, so then what do you do? Here, I log the tempo, so I make sure it won't move, I don't make any mistake. Then you analyze your transient on the beat mapping. I don't need to do it, it's already done. You make sure that this is locked, and you do your first bars, your first 2 bars. All right, it looks like right there. That's where I want my transient, my downbeat. Right there. Let's see. Something's not quite right. Yeah, I had it wrong. It's that guy. Yes, let's double check. Right there, I've got the next one. Here we go. Now it should be fine. And you keep going. Now, what's going on for your pre-roll? I don't want to mess up what's going on here. So now you got the tempo of your first bar. You can just drag. Actually, sorry, I can't do that. I need to align that this way. If not, it's going to move everything. Yep, here we go. Should be the same. So that's the mechanics of the whole thing. Now I've got a pre-roll. Sorry. 2, 3, 4. And here we go. All right. Now, second tip. Sometimes, especially when you just got piano or guitar, you don't have the luxury to have a clear kick on the downbeat. So you may have to lock the tempo on the second beat, on the third beat, or something different, whatever it would be. That's also the case when you've got live stuff and then everybody's got a bunch of big hits, and then suddenly you don't have any downbeats anymore. And when people do accents, usually they just move the tempo, it just fluctuates. So you kind of have to guess and count by hand and say, everybody comes back on the, let's say, the fourth beat. And that's where you lock your tempo, your transient. So let me show you an example. Right there. That's another track I got going on. I'm going to show you a couple other extra stuff. Okay, right. So first of all, if you look at the whole track, there's a lot of tempo change on that track that I was working on. So, it can take a minute to do it all. Now I'm pretty, when I get something like that, I'm pretty good. It takes me about an hour to get it done, just to give you an idea of how much time you should be spending on that kind of stuff. And then if you listen to that section, and let me get rid of a couple things. All right.
Feel brand new, and so will you, if you let the Lord come into your life. Feel brand new, and so will you, if you let the Lord come into your life. Feel brand new, and so will you, if you let the Lord come into your life. Feel brand new.
All right. So you hear feel brand new, bang.
Feel brand new, and so will you, if you let the Lord.
So feel brand new, bang, and you feel brand new, bang. That's where you want to lock your tempo. So it's not on the downbeat. And you see, this is measure 23, measure 24, and then the big hit where everybody locks in is on the second beat. So that's where basic should. The transient. But that's where my transients is lined up right there. And so that's a way to really put back things together. And again, when you listen with the click, you know, when you put the click on, it's going to be like, oh yeah, now I feel it. And especially, let's say you're not sure, does it feel really right? Let's do the very speed on that. And what is that? Very speed and needy. Okay, so let's pull it down. Oh my goodness, no, just very speed only.
Feel brand new, and so will you if you let the Lord come into your life. Feel brand new, and so will you if you let the Lord come into your life.
So when you're done with the work, you know, whatever the tempo you're going, the click should feel good at all time. That's your measure, basically. Okay. The last thing I can show you, what I end up doing when I really want to work it, I reprogram on top of it the instrumentation. Here I've got bass and drum going on, and and it makes things really fun. I think that's really nice. I can dial in the volume of the track to the bare minimum, so I just grab the vocal, and then my track is still feels good. See? Get rid of the click. And then I can play with it. There we go. You can play without, doesn't matter anymore. Then you can completely remove the track, and then you play with the playback, and that's really build confidence when you can hold the tune like that. So that's it. Happy beat mapping.